Yes, to answer Ray's question, yes, the other movements. Vivaldi also writes, and I don't have it on my computer, so I can't play it. But Vivaldi writes some of the greatest storm music of any composer. There's a storm in the summer that is scary, and in the winter there are three movements. There are four concertos, three movements in each concerto, and the winter, the first movement has a storm music, and the third movement has storm music. Um, so, uh, but I wanted to feel happy and wonderful and safe, warm on this cold wintry day.
Yes.
So that's why it's there. You have a question, Rain?
Yes, so he gives each season like a personality
Each
almost in
season
each
has a
piece.
definite personality. It's some of the greatest music that I know. It's especially knowing what it represents. Like autumn, the first movement represents going to the hunt, and there's a part of it where you hear the music echoing. Uh, it's more effective actually. It's one of those pieces that is a very it's more effective if you're in person than listening to it on even the greatest stereo, because what Vivaldi does is he has a note that a very sharp attack in the strings, and it goes pop 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 pop, but it across the beat. So it goes first violin, cello, second violin, viola, first violin, as if echoing. So it's going across the room and coming from different parts of the room. And what Vivaldi is illustrating musically is somebody taking a shot at the fox at the hunt, but the shot is ricocheting in the woods.
Oh, oh,
Which, if you listen to it, it sounds nice. You can hear it, but when you're there and you can hear it coming from different parts of the orchestra, it's a little more effective. So it's really a great.
Yeah, now you're in stereo.
Yes. Yep. I mean, they were doing stereo back. Well, they did. We could say they did stereo way back in the 14th century when they wrote music for choir on one side of the church and another choir on the other side of the church, and singing. And it's called antiphonal music, but
mhm.
that's a stereo effect to hear live. Well, it is Valentine's Day, so I wanted to include a couple of love songs. And I thought, well, what would be better than including a love song to a tree? So I've decided that I'm going to play a song. Handel wrote an opera called Xerxes in 1730s. I don't remember the exact date. But at the beginning of Xerxes is the Persian king, and he has a favorite tree in his garden, and it's called a plane tree, and he sings a song called Ombra Mai Fu, which is one of the most
Oh,
beautiful songs that
yeah.
Handel wrote, and a popular song. In fact, it's been arranged so often. Sometimes you'll watch a TV show and they'll play an orchestral version of Ombra Mai Fu because it's just a beautiful aria. But the words Ombra Mai Fu means never has the shade of a more beautiful tree been seen by me. Um, or it's never has any tree been more beautiful and dear. It's translated several different ways, but it's he goes out in his garden and hugs his tree and tells the world how much he loves his tree. So here's a Valentine's Day treat to your favorite tree.
Absolutely beautiful.
Uh, I think that maybe um, people should um,
Yeah,
environmental
new
movement should pick that
doctor.
song as their theme song. Uh, and that the singer was Jason Adamo. Jason has sung with us many times. Wonderful, wonderful artist, and it's just I just love hearing him sing Handel. Singing that aria is just so great. But there are lots of love songs that are more typical, although when I went through a lot of my opera recordings, I realized that a lot of the arias that are big love songs are also kind of sad for some reason. Well, I guess it's because a lot of operas, uh, you know, one of the things about opera, serious opera, is that the people who are in love with each other, they find each other at the end and then they die or something. So it's an interesting aspect. But I did want to play one that I love again from a recent performance, one we did actually recently back in November, the same time when we did the Verdi Overture, because it was a Verdi concert that we did in collaboration with the Morris Museum. And uh, one of Verdi's greatest love songs, which of course the heroine dies at the end, is La Traviata. But in the first act, Alfredo and Violetta are singing about they kind of love each other, but don't want to say they love each other. So, yeah, some people are still talking. I don't want to turn off everybody's mic, but I think I'm going to. I'm going to get in the lineup and have a chance to compete. And you're cheating. So, I'm going to play. It's called the Brindisi. It's a drinking song, but it's also a love song. And what happens in this scene is there's a party at Violetta's house, and Alfredo is trying to get Violetta to recognize that he's in love with her, and she's in love with him, but she's denying it. She doesn't want to admit it. So instead, they both sing a toast, and in the toast, it's like, let's all drink to love and life and having a good time. The two main singers here, Violetta is being sung by Teresa Caramagno, and Alfredo is being sung by Gary Pate, who is a longtime friend of the orchestra and a longtime member of the Metropolitan Opera Chorus. So this is the drinking song, the love song from the Brindisi from La Traviata.
Libiamo nell'eti calici che la bellezza infiora e là fuggevo l'ora s'inebria voluta. Libiam dolci fremiti che suscita l'amore, poiché quell'occhi al cuore onnipotente va. Libiamo amore tra i calici più caldi baci avrà.
Follia, follia,
It's a fun little duet. I've always enjoyed conducting it and listening to it. And you always wish, oh, why can't Alfredo and Violetta find happiness? Well, they do, and then they don't. Then they're torn apart. Then they find themselves again, and then she dies. But it's just so wonderful to see. Um, Steve says he's in the mood for Carmen, which would be nice, but I don't have any Carmen with me today. Oh well. Yeah, Ray, I agree. And the worst thing about hearing something but you can't remember what it was. The worst thing ever happened to me was I was driving one time and I had WQXR on, and they're playing something, and I'm thinking, I know this, and I can't remember what the name of this piece is. And when they told me, and I don't remember exactly what it was now, but it turns out it was a piece I had just conducted a couple of months earlier, and I couldn't remember the name of it. So
Bob, it's my understanding that early opera, it wasn't like it is today where you go and sit quietly and you enjoy the music.
no,
But
it wasn't.
it was
People
party
would,
time.
people would have been singing along.
And they would have been talking and eating and drinking wine in their opera boxes. And yeah, it
Yeah,
was very different from today.
very different. It's one of the other things I point out too, is one of the interesting things about going to the opera in up until the mid 19th century. So opera started in 1600, but it wasn't until maybe the middle of the 19th century that it changed to what we're used to. But prior to that, while the opera was going on, you'd have vendors going up and down the aisles selling snacks and drinks and things. It's more like going to a baseball game or something than going to the theater. Verdi and Wagner actually were the first composers to say that wasn't allowed during their performances. And I think what also helped change all of that was electricity. The fact that now we could dim the lights and do it. I think that probably did it as well. But yeah, there was a lot of audience participation in those days, in the early days of opera.
It's almost like the music was like background music.
Yeah, background to life. Well, a lot of people that stayed in the boxes. One of the reasons that they had the box seats. You ever go to the Met or any opera house, and you sit in a box? You walk through a room, a small chamber, to get to the box. So the hallway is here. Then there's a little room, and then there's the box seats. Most people sat in that little room and played cards or ate dinner, and they would be able to hear through a little window what was going on. And then somebody would say, wait, this is an aria that we like. And then they'd all get up, go out to their box, listen to the music, applaud, and then go back and play cards or do whatever. So it was a very different, going to the theater was an incredibly different experience. I wanted to play something. We had our concert in January, and a lot of people weren't able to go because of the snow and the cold. So I wanted to bring something Baroque, because we're the Baroque Orchestra in New Jersey. And even though we do everything now, we still do a lot of Baroque music. And one of the things we did was a Handel organ concerto. And I want to play a movement from that organ concerto for those who weren't able to make it because of the weather, but also because we did something different. We played at Grace Church. And if many of you have been to our concerts at Grace Church, know the orchestra sits in front of the altar area, and the organist, when we've done an organ concerto, is way in the by the altar itself and sits in a little cubby hole. So the problem is not just you can't see the organist, but the other problem is there's a distance between where the organist is sitting and where the orchestra is sitting. So what we did was we moved all the string players up on the altar area, and they stood, the violinist stood and played, and we were right there around the organist. One of the nice things about Grace Church is they have a camera that's on when they have the organ play, they have a camera on the organist's keyboard. so that they can project. So you can, where you can't see the organist, you can still see them playing. And again, as nice as this piece sounds, it's another example of why it's a better experience if you can be there, if you can go and hear it live. Because what Anne Matlack was the organist. What she did was, the music has a lot of passages that echo, and you can sort of hear the echo in the recording. But the way she did it is, we don't see many of the organ pipes in any cathedral. And the organ pipes we can see are usually maybe 30% of all the organ pipes. And so there are organ pipes in the front of the church, and there are organ pipes in the back of the church. So when Anne played a phrase that echoed, so you might hear bum bum ba-da-dum, and then bum bum ba-da-dum, she would hit this organ has these what we call stops on the organ, and she can change the stops so that the sound would sometimes come from right in the front, and then the echo would be in the back. And it's a totally different way of hearing the music that you don't get even in some of the best stereo systems. But this is the first movement from Handel's organ concerto that we played just this past January. it's fun music. I love Handel's one of my favorite composers. It's just so spectacular, and I think it's nice when never do you get to actually see the organist play when you because the organist is either way back in the church up in the choir loft or is in Grace Church in this little cubby hole in front. As an aside, there's something extra. This past summer, we were in London and we visited Handel's house, and I highly recommend if you get to go to London, it's very the house itself is where Handel lived. Some of the furniture in there is Handel's, but most of it is not. But it's all from the period, so it's Handel's what he could have had. But it's so special to be able to say, well, I'm standing in the room where Handel rehearsed his music. I'm standing in the room where Handel wrote the Messiah and other things. So it's just a great feeling. And thanks, Evan. Yeah, it's easy to see why Beethoven adored Handel's music very much. But the other thing too, and it is right around the corner, very short walk from Handel's house, is St. George's Church, where Handel worshiped. And so you can go in there, and while Handel wasn't the organist in the church, in fact, I don't think Handel was ever the official organist in any church. He played at St. Paul's Cathedral, and he played at his St. George's Church, but he helped with the organ and worked with the organist, and he rehearsed there. So it's nice to think that I just did a concerto that Handel may have played, may have rehearsed in the church, which is also a place you can visit. It's also a historic church. We didn't know that until we went there and found out that some very famous people got married in this church after Handel's time. But Percy Shelley got married in this church. George Eliot got married in this church. Guglielmo Marconi, the great inventor, got married in this church, and Theodore Roosevelt got married in this church. So it's kind of a historic church on so many levels. But another good, interesting thing or fun thing about going there is it's not in the center of London. It's not far from the center of London, but it's not near Westminster Abbey, and it's not near St. Paul's, and it's not near the Tower of London. So it's not a big tourist place. And of course, most tourists who go to London want to go to the Tower and see the Thames and all of that stuff. So it's only us musicians who want to see Handel's house. But the advantage of that is there's hardly anybody else there. So you can walk a whole historic part of London, Hanover Square area, and see some historic buildings that are really cool and important and not be mobbed by all the tourists. Ray, you had your hand up.
Is that a little mini fugue I hear in that piece on that organ, or no?
It's a little bit of fugal writing. Yes, you did hear that. It's not a full-fledged fugue, but it's there. I always like to include something that I wrote, composed. So I'd like to compose a little, play a piece. I made my debut in Paris 3 years ago, and I fell in love with the city. I really loved walking around Paris, riding. We took 2 cruises on the Seine. And so I composed a piece called Strings Along the Seine. And I made a little video with some photographs along the river and my music. So I would like to include that. And then I have one more piece I want to play after that, a Valentine's Day piece. So that's a little bit of mine. I see I got some chats here.
I can feel your love of Paris in this piece.
Thank you. Um, yeah, it's such a beautiful city, but it's such an easy city, a nice city to walk around. Um, I just loved it. And of course, there's so much history and to see. And it was special that I got to conduct and I got to write a piece and all that. So it is Valentine's Day. So I have one of the most beautiful pieces of music. One of my favorite pieces of music is the intermezzo from the opera Cavalleria Rusticana by Pietro Mascagni. And it doesn't have anything to do with Valentine's Day. It's just an intermezzo, but it's so beautiful. And so I created a Valentine's Day type video using a performance that we did again, I guess about 8 years ago, 8 years ago, with the orchestra. And I included all those photos of Paris, they're my photos too. And some of the photos in this are mine, but all the video clips are not. But I incorporated them and used them. So this is a happy Valentine's Day love song to all of you from me and from the orchestra. thank you all for joining me. I hope everybody enjoyed the selections that I played. Thank you for watching and for sharing everything that the orchestra does. I hope you'll come out. We have a concert and we have a bunch of concerts coming up in the fall. Thank you for all these hearts and applause. We have concert April 19th and concert June 14th. April 19th is Mozart's, many Mozarts. And I'm not going to explain what many Mozarts are. You'll have to go to the website and follow us to see who the many Mozarts are. And then in June, we have a Bach concert that will Bach and his family and friends. But we also have many other things coming up. We're playing a special concert at the Growing Stage in Netcon. We're participating at the Morris Museum for America 250. So keep in touch. Stay well, stay warm, enjoy the rest of winter. It's been great to see you all today. It's really special. So I wish you all a happy Valentine's Day.
You too. Good to see you.
Great to see everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Bob.
Good to see
And
you,
happy
Bob. Take
Valentine's,
care.
everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Butts.
Thank you. Bye-bye.